On today's episode of That Mental Ginger Show, we are talking to promotion manager Kristina Paterson. Yet again, another Canadian connection. I am determined to get out there and retire at some point. Kristina was such a lovely person. She was so sweet. She had a great story to tell. And I really want you to share it with me and just enjoy the experience. Let's cut to the intro.
All right, troops.
Kristina, an absolute pleasure to see you, my dear. How you been keeping?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thankfully, the eye's on the mend. What after what the recent injury, but it's just it is what it is. What I thought, what better safe than sorry. I'll just be the white Stevie Wonder for another night just to be safe.
The white Stevie Wonder. That's a good one.
Yeah, I went for Ray
So
Charles, and then I was like, well, we'll see.
Sorry, your eyes okay? Sorry.
Yeah. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, it's a bit red, and it's still a wee bit blurry to see. So I thought just to be better safe than sorry.
Yes.
So, Kristina, what I like to do when I start my interviews is to get my guests to tell me about their origin story, because the one thing we all have in common is that we all have an origins. So, for my faithful followers, please tell us your origin story.
Just from my knowledge, my family originates from Scotland and England, or sorry, Scotland and Ireland.
Hey.
Okay. I'm not really too sure about the Irish side of things, but for sure Scottish. I know Dublin is one of them in the area.
Dublin's Ireland, so you've got the Irish there. That's all right.
That's Ireland?
Yeah, Dublin's Ireland. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not too familiar on where everybody is from, simply because it's a Paterson thing. Patersons were a clan.
Yeah.
And apparently they were really big. And a lot of them came to Canada. I still have family members here with the accent and everything. Wow. I'm still learning. Yeah. And I just received a family book from my stepmom a couple of days ago, a few days ago, explaining how the whole thing went. And I'm just lost. Even down here, we have a lot of Patersons, and I have connected with a couple of Patersons in Scotland, but they can't really say too much about how many we've got around.
Yeah, there's lots of Patersons everywhere. Like the thing that they always say is it one T or is it two T's?
Oh yeah, we are the one T.
Yeah, I know quite a few one T's, so you're all right. Well, they could be distant relations. We'd never know.
Yeah, so I was born in Bowmanville here in Canada, and raised mostly in Oshawa. Wow. And growing up, I traveled to Toronto, Cambridge, different areas like that. Got married at 22.
Wow.
22. I got married and have two beautiful children. One boy, 23 years old. Wow. And one girl, 15. I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
I've been working the entertainment business, I'd say for over 20 years now. Growing up, I always liked music. It was my biggest thing. Yeah. I used to hide in my room. I loved to be alone, and hide in my room and play on a keyboard or sing or something. And I could spend many hours doing that. I didn't really know much about how to get into stuff, the music industry. And then eventually I learned about karaoke.
Hey.
And I started that for about 11 years, did very well with it. And during my karaoke experience, I got a chance to learn about sound. Okay, I got to learn people. And I got to meet a lot of celebrity-like figures, musicians and stuff, because my biggest thing with the karaoke is that nobody likes it. And that was an understatement. So I took on quite the challenge, and I had to figure out why nobody liked it.
Yeah.
And I went around to other places to figure it out, and it was because of the terrible sound.
Wow.
So I worked on that for a while until I mastered it. And then I started to do promotional work
Hmm.
because once I understood the karaoke end of it and my shows were busy, it kind of got repetitive.
Yeah.
So I started to bring in more competitive uh, jobs to do with the karaoke. Everybody loves music. So
Yeah.
as long as the sound was good, I would go to local venues, non-competitive, and set up shows with prize giveaways for advertising.
Wow.
Yeah, I carried that through for quite some time,
Yeah.
um, and then I started to have band members and singers and stuff like that come out.
Mm.
I took interest in that stuff and just went on my free time for a while, um, and that's what took my interest.
Mm.
In that time, um, I was doing some promotional stuff online. I just at that point I just learned how to get online, which was quite some time ago. We're talking well, about 20 years ago or more.
Yeah, I
I
was
started to
round
learn
about
more
that.
about the internet and
Yeah, I
cell
think we
phone
all were at
systems.
that point. We are like, what is this thing? What is
Yeah,
this thing that
pretty,
like just this wee blue E?
yeah. Then at some point, I didn't realize how many people I had actually had around me that enjoyed the shows and enjoyed what I was doing, probably because I was just too busy. That's when I was approached in a nightclub after seeing a couple of friends go off to Lebanon on tour.
Wow.
I was approached by the original Kid Rock, and
Ah.
I did not know who he was, and I thought he was crazy. And it's the same song and dance pretty much. If you take a look online,
Mm,
unfortunately, we've lost him
mm,
in this last week.
yeah.
He was a great promoter, though, very crazy. He just didn't stop. I got a chance to work beside him.
Mm,
I'd get a lot of photos with him. He gave me a lot of advice. And then eventually it became a little tiring for me. So I stepped down from promoting because I was at that point a single mother,
ah, mm.
right? So, uh,
That sounded really condescending, and it wasn't meant to. Well, I was just like, oh, so we were going from married, and then it was single mum. What was it? Was it a divorce, a separation, or was
it
there
was a
a
separation
separation?
completely. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, it was after about 11 years of
mm,
marriage. I can't just, there was nothing serious that just, I guess, circumstantial situations ended the relationship.
mm,
So we remained friends. Um, and I became a single mom. So every other weekend I was going out and promoting because, of course, at that point, both parents get a chance to see the kids. If you're
mm,
not together, you're not together. So I needed that time to work. I
yeah.
took advantage of that because I didn't want to totally step out. But eventually it did wear me out because it felt like I wasn't getting any breaks. There was no relaxation time. If it was 7 days a week responsibility and then 7 days a week work,
Hmm.
right? So there
Yeah.
was no break. Um,
Yeah. A lot
and
of people
then
don't seem to understand that out with the industry. They're like, my wife and I, like, we'd actually had a wee bit of a fight over that, and she was like, "What? We need to know what you're doing for your presenting job," and I'm like, "It's not like that. It's
no.
not a 9 to 5 where I've got a certain time. Is like, and what? Let's be honest, performers don't like getting up early in the morning.
Hmm.
So it'll be like late morning and the evening. My wife works a back shift at the moment for the NHS, and I'm like, your job at this point is actually hindering me going out and getting more work because
Hmm.
that's my time, but I want to be there to look after my kids.
Yes.
So
It,
it was like we were just like loggerheads, and I was like, she doesn't get
yeah.
it. But it's
Yeah.
understandable though, because when we got together, we were in college, and then I went into the night. I left acting behind. I went into the 9 to 5 world, but that was just purely because money. We just needed it. And
Yeah.
I wanted to get married and start a family. Then after the pandemic, it was like life's too short. I've got to jump into this. I've got to go for it. But to make my kids proud of me, and so they see their dad and be like, well, hey. he does this, he does YouTube, he does this, he does that, like, and he does a presenting job. And I'm sure that's what you're probably thinking as well. Is like you want to make something yourself, and something that your kids can say, "That's my mum."
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It takes a creative to understand the creative, I feel.
Yes. It takes a little while to package things together. That's why I was
Yep.
glad I got into the promotions as well as music in order to be able to do what I'm doing right now.
Yep.
I did step down for quite a few years.
Mm. Well, how did it like take a toll? Did it take a toll on your mental health, or was there like a lot of stress or a lot of kind of
Oh yeah.
was there depression with it as well? Like, how did you manage to get through it?
I don't know, but I did. I burnt out eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just that I was happy about what I was doing pulled me through it. My kids, of course, motivation for my kids, bringing
Yeah.
them into the music sometimes, and having people come for meetings. They get a
Mm-hmm.
chance to meet them and whatever. So the happiness of it, I was, and the people, that was all great. And I could,
Mm.
kids love music. Both of my kids did. So that my
Yeah.
son was drumming, and my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
she liked the rhythm of the music, and she would do videos with me and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
So it was okay that way, but I would honestly say that developing insomnia
Mm.
um, was the worst part of it because my children were young. And like I was saying, throughout the year, or the week, they're in school, and then the weekends they're home. So the entertainment business is a very fast-paced business. You can't
Mm-hmm.
always determine when something's going to be available to you, and sometimes you have to jump on things when
Mm-hmm.
it's available. So it wasn't that easy. I had my parents behind me, so if I had to do something, they were there. But usually up bright and early in the morning with the kids,
Mm-hmm.
then having to do business all day, being on the phone and the internet, doing flyers and business cards, advertising, talking to people, trying to get more work because it's usually a flat rate. It started off that way with a flat rate because of the promotions and stuff.
Mm.
And late nights, of course, because shows go on back then until close to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And then to have to get home and be up early again. You're
Yeah.
only getting maybe 3 hours sleep. And then when you
Mm.
have to go a couple of days back to back, that's when the burnout comes in.
Yeah. Do you ever get the point where you're back at like like 3:30 in the morning and you're thinking, is it worth my while just staying up? Because by the time you get to sleep and then wake up at 6 to go with the kids, what? Because you've already gotten into that kind of REM sleep, that's why everybody's just so like, oh, I'm so groggy. What? I'm done in. Most of the time, I would
Yeah.
just be like, you know what? Give me an espresso. I'll just ride out these 3 hours and watch a extended Lord of the Rings. Why not?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I can't recall whether I went through that or not. I just remember being exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I developed not heart, a little bit of heart problems and some stuff with sleeping. My
Yeah.
allergies got worse. My body started to break down because I wasn't outside during the day.
Mm.
I wasn't getting enough light. My sleep patterns were all over the place. Um, and just I slowly got too exhausted and couldn't keep up with just day-to-day life, which I couldn't let happen because I have children to raise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they had to become a priority.
Yeah.
And I had lost my father. He was 59 years old to a major heart attack. And I had at that point completely lost my motivation to do anything in the music because of, mental health, obviously, with grieving.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
and then being exhausted on top of that, and then trying to deal with family matters. It was just all too much in one shot when I was already burning out from not getting, well, look, what we need is proper
Mm-hmm.
exercise, sunlight, proper sleep,
Mm-hmm.
healthy diet. I couldn't keep up with because my hours were everywhere. I slept when I could. And there were times where I didn't want to get up. I couldn't wake up because I was so exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the breathing issues came in. I went to the sleep apnea clinic to get tested, and it was just insomnia, my body shutting down, it's developing health issues because of it. So I did need to take that break
Yeah.
just to get my health back up. And I accomplished that. And I made a decision that I wasn't going to return back to the entertainment business unless I was 100% ready, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't be the same way. I did not want to work in bars any longer because of the late nights. I would have preferred to manage like I am now with Danny Gravel,
Yep.
and or work in studio or doing stuff online. So all of this is pretty new to me compared to what I was doing.
Yeah.
Even speaking with you, like I'm happy. I'm not in a bar.
Yeah.
um,
Neither am I.
so
I'm in my dining room.
yeah.
That's
um,
it. It's just
also,
something that I'm so glad to see from you, Kristina. Like, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I feel like I need to say that this is the type of thing I want to raise awareness of, like, especially in the industry. People don't realize the hours we put in, the burnout it takes. What when you're in management as well, you're dealing with clients 24/7, and let's face it, in the industry, we're not exactly the easiest to work with.
no.
I can understand that completely, and what they don't realize, the mental stress can affect the physical stress. And like you said, your body and your brain were just basically shutting down because you couldn't cope with it all. You took the
That's right.
time to make sure that you were recovered. You wanted to get back into it, but only on your terms and how you were going to go about it, which is a massive learning curve as well. I know that
Yeah.
from jumping into the podcasting game. I was almost 9 years out of the entertainment industry as well, like, from mental health and not being up to it and all that kind of stuff. And you feel that once you're back on that roller coaster, you're like, right, I learned from the last time, and I'm not going to let it get to me this time. And I can
Hmm.
see that in you, like, because like you're glowing, not in a pregnant way, but you're
Yeah.
glowing, you're happy, you've got your smile, and I'm really proud of you, and I really appreciate you telling me that story. It takes a lot of guts to do that. They always say women
Thank
are
you.
the stronger sex, so more power to you.
Thank you. I always thought it was the men being the stronger sex because they're the ones always out there doing it.
Mm. No, not
And they
at
have
all.
families too.
Yeah, well, at the same time, like, men have had to to soften as well. When I say, like, the stuff that I do, like, with the kids, I want to be a very hands-on dad with them, and be part of their lives, and, like, even just from my dad, like, the
Mhm.
20 years ago, that wasn't common.
Right.
For them to get involved in that, like, my dad never changed a nappy. But
Yeah.
I was changing twin boys' nappies usually at the same time, praying that one of them didn't run away. but
Yeah.
but it's just the way things, changed, and it's now. I feel there's still a long way to go to make it a level playing field, but we're getting
Hmm.
closer and closer. And yeah, behind they always say behind every man is a good woman. And that's a saying. It's been around for a long time, so take the hint.
I will. It is getting easier, especially with the internet.
Hmm.
Before we couldn't connect this way, as far
Yeah.
as I know, and now we can, which also brings a little bit more attention to where we want it to go.
Mm.
It lets us spread ourselves out, whereas before it would be very difficult. We would have to meet one on one or get referrals and stuff like that and connect through an email, but never anything like this.
Hmm.
So the upgrade of the system is good. I enjoy it. The only thing is that I find it difficult that because there's so much of it now,
Hmm.
uh, the attention towards the social media has gone down quite a bit simply because it seems like spam quite often. There's so many people that know they can advertise their own business or connect somewhere. And especially with this whole COVID thing,
Yeah.
um, everything being shut down, we can still operate, but it's not the same no matter what. And people are tired of the ongoing ads. They don't know uh, what is a good site. Sites are not lasting.
Hmm.
That's what I can see. There's just a whole bunch of things going on, cyber attacks, you name it. So it's really
Yeah.
difficult on people unless they do a lot of digging to understand what they're doing as they go along. Not everybody has that time. There's a big distraction. Some
Hmm.
things can seem very confusing. especially when the programs don't work and you're working with a team, something's wrong. I don't know how many times I've said, I don't know why this isn't coming up, but it's not. The Ginger Show is actually a good example because I have, in fact, joined all your sites that you've sent me.
Oh, thank you
and
very
I
much.
can't connect with them. I had to thank Wanda Ryan for putting the Ginger Show because I put it there. I mean, it should have been tagged just like everybody's name, but for some reason it's not coming up.
That's happened with mine. It's actually happened with mine as well. I've been trying to just like say, you know, thrilled to be speaking to blah 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 on that Metal Ginger show tonight, and it doesn't come up with the actual page, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go out and then go back into the page and then copy and paste the post again, and just try and find ways, or just you try and find your ways around it. So trust me, you're not alone on that one. That it's
Good.
a pain.
Well,
it's a pain in the back.
I've tried to explain this to everybody that I'm working with online because they're getting frustrated themselves. What's wrong with your line, Kristina? There's nothing wrong. There's something wrong with the settings. And that's really what's going on. And I can't explain it. There's no explanation.
It's essentially like a good explanation for life at the minute. It's not us that's wrong. It's the system. There we go. Good.
But because they're not having the problem at that specific moment, there's something wrong with what you're doing.
There we go. We got a good analogy on this show as well. And one thing I love me, I've said this to my wife for years, that like my dream is to retire in Canada. And she's like, "You've never been. You were there when you were like a baby. You don't remember it. What's so fascinating about it?" And I'm like, I just love I love Canada. I love like the fact that it just seems so peaceful, relaxing. Well, also I've got family there as well. Well, it just seems like a place where I know that I would kind of belong. Well, and so having all these kind of opportunities to connect with, you know, like yourself, Wanda, Danny, like Johnny Starks, Ryan Lunn, all these Canadian artists, I'm like, yes, this is what I mean. Like I connect with Canadians better than I connect with the Scots, which is weird because I love Scotland as well, obviously.
Well, I got to be honest with you and say that what I've observed throughout the years is that nobody from your own area takes you serious. And the truth is that for many years, in order to make it anywhere, musicians, writers, actors, whoever, they have to tour. So once people in your home area start to see that you've left that and gone on to bigger things and you're becoming more and more popular outside of your own area, that's when they realize that you've done something. Don't ask me why. That just happens to be, I guess it's the whole idea. Over so many years, musicians go and actors go on these big tours to Hollywood, to wherever they're most popular. They become international, and that's what everybody's reaching out for. So anything below that, they don't even want to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's when you get the people going, "Oh, you don't forget is when you're famous," and I'm like, "You've not."
Yes, I'm getting that.
It's like, in fairness, I already forgot you after this conversation.
Yeah.
That was especially like when I left my day job and they were like, it's like, they're like, "Oh, are you gonna say we'll keep in touch and blah blah blah?" And I went, no, that's not my style. Well, I'm completely honest. Well, there are maybe 3-4 people that I will still keep in contact with. The rest of you, enjoy.
Yeah.
Life is too short. If I do, I won't be rude if I see you. I would be like, "Oh, hi, how you been? How's work? How's this? How's that?" And but I'm not going to go out my way. I'm going to message this person that I've known for 3 days in a job that I absolutely despised. Not happening.
Yeah. It's not something you look back on when you're going through that to move into your passion, but it keeps you busy no matter what. They're all acquaintances. And of course, they want to continue to know you when they hear that you're going into something like this. It's an entertainment world.
Yeah.
So
one thing I noticed when I left my day job was like when I put my notice in to say that I was leaving, and they were like, "Oh, so where you going?" And I said, "I'm going to be a TV presenter." And it was all of a sudden this team leader who had never spoke to me in 4 years, like all of a sudden was my best pal. She's like, "Oh, can I bring up your news on our team call? Like, oh, I've let the higher ups know that you're moving on to this position." I'm like, "You barely knew my name 2 minutes ago."
Yeah, but hey,
honestly,
it's free advertising.
I was just like, I was like, plug it, promote it, but yeah, just don't go kissing my butt now.
Yeah.
Like, go back to the mutual disdain. It worked for me.
Yeah. So
It
how are you
drove me. It
finding the
drove me
podcast?
on.
How are you finding the podcasts and stuff? You're doing very well.
Oh, thank
So
you.
I see.
But, yeah, it's the hustle. I love the hustle.
Yeah.
Like I say, that's three of the channels monetized. I'm going to be starting a fourth. And it's all these little things that well, I'm sure for yourself, you'll think what is something that'll go, oh, I've got an idea how to make money out of that, because that's the way I
Yes.
start to need to start thinking now. Beforehand, it was I'm doing it like to help people. That's still the goal, but I can't help people if I don't get paid.
That's right. And
And
that's
that,
part of the industry as well. We're having a very difficult time um, separating all of that because you want to do stuff, but there's only so many ways to make money.
mm-hmm,
Um, and people,
yes,
especially with either working or not working or whatever the case may be, they don't have the money to put out. A lot of people are also afraid to touch the industry because of how much money they've got to put out just for the simplest little things. So they look
mm-hmm,
for things online that they can do at no cost. But unfortunately, the platforms now are leveling up and expect
mm-hmm,
a certain quality, which pushes you into making sure that the quality of what you're putting out, even online, um, has to be on a professional level, or they
yeah,
don't allow you to do anything.
no, definitely, and it's something that is like a lot of kind of other podcasters like have contacted me lately, and they've been like, oh, the thing the words I hate have been, oh, you've been so lucky. And I'm like, luck has had nothing to do with it.
No.
What they say, 2 points make a line, not a pattern. I've had three channels monetized. That's a pattern. So
Hmm.
there's a reason why
Yeah.
why I'm doing well. I'm very humble and very grateful that that's happening. But I'm working my butt off constantly.
Hmm.
What and what
Absolutely.
and what and just thinking of different ways to try and do things and trying to promote things and what and helping others with the channels and about still trying to remain true to what it is. I still consider myself the little fat kid for Airdrie that just wanted to help someone. What and
Yes.
what I actually had a discussion with a girl that's going to be on that's helping with the presenting that I'm doing for the other channel. What and she said, like, I see you and you seem to have it all together, and I feel like I've got imposter syndrome. And I'm like, I deal with imposter syndrome every single day. Like when people say to me, "Look how well you're doing. Look who you're contacting," and I'm like, I still feel like that wee fat kid. Like
Yeah.
that wee 6-year-old that was too scared to look someone in the eye. Well,
Yeah.
it's something that you constantly deal with.
Yeah. We're
But
working
so,
so hard, but it's not a bad thing. It keeps you humble, and it goes along with saying, even back when I started the promotions, I had no idea how many
mhm,
people that I had reached. Same ideas, what you're saying right now. You're working so hard that you don't see how you progress until you step outside of that. But there's a lot of people that don't speak up,
mhm,
just like with your videos and stuff. They can be watching and you'll see those graphs hit the roof, but
yeah,
there's no likes, there's no comments, and that's how they grade things to
mhm,
determine where you sit. But the
yeah,
majority of people don't even bother.
yeah. It's like a lot of people don't want to, like, hit the like button or comment on it. One thing and the reason I noticed that was because it starts to pop up like in their history of all the liked videos that they've done. And I think because
Yeah.
everybody's so afraid of, oh, if I hit this like button on something that's they might think I'm affiliated with this type of thing or I promote this type of thing, so they're shying away from it. And the same with commenting as well. Like some of them will just be like, no, I just want to sit and watch it, like rather than kind of engage. Especially with this podcast, like people like to just I used to just think it was all robots that were watching it first. I'm like, why is nobody commenting? But it's because they don't want to. They want to just take the time to sit, enjoy it, and then maybe go on to
Yes.
the next one or go on to something else. And it wasn't until I took that kind of step outside with my own stuff and was like,
Right.
if I was watching a video on YouTube, would I do it? Like in a comment, only if it was like particularly special or like awe-inspiring. If it's good content, I'll still watch it. I just might not hit the like or the comment. Well,
Yeah.
and that's all
Exactly.
it is. Sometimes it's your own mind that's the problem. Like you fill yourself with self doubt.
Yeah. Have you thought of having a show like what you're doing right now,
Mm.
and having just the recordings come through a phone or something, so they don't have to worry about identity issues?
Yeah, well, there's always what possibilities. There's always what different techniques, different things I want to try. I'm always interested. What, and that's how I know that this is the type of work that I love to do, rather than the work that I
Mhm.
have to do. If I was
Yeah,
still in my day job, what my old day job, I would be bare minimum. Just give me a set job. I will repetitively do it, and then just go home and work home. This
yeah,
type of work, I'm constantly experimenting. I'm constantly trying new things. Like, I'm wanting to learn about different techniques. I'm wanting to learn about different ways to edit a video. Like, because I wanted to have like kind of what I've spoke about, with wanting to get maybe people that were used to work in the sex industry and stuff like that, find out what it was like for them, how it took a toll on their mental health. But I know a lot of people wouldn't want to, come out and be like, yeah, I was a sex worker. What? So
yeah.
you'd
They don't
want to
want
make
to.
sure that you had, like, the lighting was covered, and you had a voice modulator and all that kind of stuff to accommodate what. So I'm
Hmm.
always looking into it. I'm always interested to experiment with different ideas, different methods of working, what, and just get to know people, and just
Hmm.
try and make a bit of a difference.
There's
That's
also the method of, I've seen it on TV many times, where they've interviewed criminals or whatever. They put them behind a silhouette screen.
mhm. Yeah,
They
definitely.
can put themselves behind something if they would like to speak without identifying themselves. But I
Yeah.
mean, it shows that it's a true story still.
Mhm.
It's just that the public has to understand
Mhm.
confidentiality.
Yeah.
It's not that
And
they don't want to come out and say something. They really, really do. The majority of them want to speak.
mhm.
But again, they're at risk.
Yeah. It was the same. I was actually I was at a Steam fair, what, in my local town, what, over the weekend, and it was about traction engines and all that kind of stuff. What, and because I'm a massive Thomas fan, I love steam engines and stuff. All that stuff fascinates me. What, and when I was going round, I was taking like wee videos and wee pictures and going up to people, and I was like, "Do you want to do a wee interview for my channel for steam enthusiasts?" And they kind of had that look of, "Oh, comfortable being on a camera." So I was like, look, I was like, I'm just going to record your voice, and then I'll just put video and pictures of the show over it, so you don't need to be on it. And you could just see the relief. They were like, oh, thank God.
Yes,
And that
exactly.
was something really new for me to try, because I would have to match up what the
Yeah.
engine they were talking about with the photos and videos, because they're not in sync on my phone. Because I'm taking the videos and going around and looking at places, and then thinking, I can interview that guy. Like, oh, that guy's here now that works with that engine. Oh, great. Well, so that was a new challenge for me, but I loved it. I loved it because
Yeah.
I was like, right, this what I want. How did I get there? Let's work on it, and just kind of brainstorm it. If that was like my day job, someone saying, right, we need to work on a spreadsheet, I'd tell them to F off. I'd, I'd be like, I'm not doing any more work. Get to bye. Anyway,
Oh,
we are starting to come
there's a
up in
lot of
time,
different.
and
Sorry.
there is something that I do want to ask you. Let us ask all my guests for the
Oh,
final question.
okay.
If you could give one piece of advice to anybody struggling with mental health issues at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be, and why?
I would say definitely go seek psychotherapy help. It's worth it. If they're on any type of drug or alcohol, it's not worth being on it, because it's going to definitely take a toll on their career.
Mm,
Take it slow, and understand that it's your life, it's your career. It's something that you have to put a lot of time into
mm,
in order for it to go well. Don't expect uh, that your numbers, just because you have a couple hundred people that are viewing you, that you're famous. That we want to get rid of the ego and stuff like that, and understand that your team, which is your marketers, your management, uh, anyone involved that you could at that time. It depends. The people in the studio, anyone that's a part of whatever it is that you're doing in the entertainment business, is what helps you get to where you need to go. And it doesn't happen overnight. And a few hundred people, even 5,000 people, is an extremely low number, and that you have to respect your team instead of bringing yourself up here and thinking that you can throw demands at how to do, telling people how to do their job and where they sit, and the criticism, the cutthroat that comes along with everything, while you're not even paying anybody.
Yeah.
People step up and they don't realize how many hours get put behind what they're doing to support their project. It does cost, time cost. The person themselves deserves a lot of credit. And it's so cutthroat that a person can't even take them to a certain level. And what I find is they just cut them off, contract everything, but breathe. Always stay true to yourself, no matter what. If you're having mental health issues, definitely get help. If you're having drug and alcohol issues, definitely get help, but breathe. You're not going to make it as far as you'd like to while under those conditions. And respect your team.
Definitely.
And I do mean team.
Yeah, definitely. What? Because there always is. There's always what, someone that's behind you. There's someone that's supporting you. What, and what you always want to make sure that they know that you appreciate them and the work that they do. And well, I definitely understand that.
Well, there is a lot of people in the industry right now recommending independence, to be an independent artist, whether you're a singer, a filmmaker, or whatever, because of the unions and stuff. I'm not really sure the total details, but I mean, I could get somebody to explain this type of stuff to you very easily.
That would definitely be an interesting interview. We'll have to find that stuff out for it as well, because that's something that you never really find out in the entertainment industry about the unions and what, the people that have the people's back, that have the other people's back. So that could be a very interesting one. Yeah.
Well, I can have a talk with my client Ty Grandison Jones and see if he would like to connect with the show and explain how it really works in that type of industry. I can't guarantee anything, but all actors and stuff like that, they have to be involved in a union of some type,
definitely,
wherever they are. Right? He's out in New York. I'm here in Canada, so but they are allowed to do independent work, as far as I know, as long as they're not contracted with something. Even the unions provide independent work, from what I've learned from the reading. They allow the independent work as long as you're not contracted. But I can't get into deep conversation about all of that because I've always been independent, and I've been lucky enough to meet and speak to people online like yourself, like Ty Grandison Jones and Kid Rock.
Yeah,
quite a few people. I can't go down. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to.
Well, Kristina, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to speak with you. Not only are you a beautiful person on the outside, because, well, everyone was like, I'm married, but I'm not blind officially. You are a very beautiful woman on the outside as well as on the inside. It's very, very rare to meet someone that's so passionate about what they do, and what's so personal. When you have agents and management, the clients can feel like they're a number rather than a person, and I don't get that vibe from you at all. You're really solid. You're sharp. You know what you're doing. You know the right steps to look after yourself. And I'm really, really pleased that you came on to speak to me. It's really made my night.
I'm glad that you touched base with me, and we have a few people to thank as well for that, which I'm going to make that known. First time being on a podcast, so I enjoyed the conversation. It was very casual and personal, so I really don't mind doing another one, I guess, at any given point in time.
That's good.
And I found you the same way even before the podcast. So that's part of the reason that I didn't mind doing it with you, because even just talking to you prior to get this set up, I was a little nervous, not knowing what I was doing. You made it very easy to understand. So I'll thank you for that. And for reaching out and being punctual too. I had to go through Danny first and then feel it out. But I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And it's one of the things I like to keep it casual and natural, because that's what it should be. I don't like when it's like you get set questions and it's like, so tell me about this, tell me about that. Like, it's stale. Like, everybody's got a unique story, everybody's got their own story to tell, and you want to present it in the most natural and comfortable way, which is having an actual conversation. Well,
Hmm.
I'm literally like the Ron Seal of like presenters. It's like that does exactly what it says in the tin. I want to get to know people and I want to talk, and I like talking. I'm a gab shite. What can I say?
So what is it that you do if you run into somebody that can't answer a question because with the origins or whatever, they want to
Mm.
skip certain things and it kind of changes the topic a little bit because they can't touch base on that mentally,
Well, look,
emotionally? How do
well,
you handle that?
there's only two questions that I ask. Well, it's the origin story and the mental health part. And I've had people say that they don't feel comfortable to say what talk about the mental health part, and that's perfectly fine. Well, they don't need to.
Oh,
Well, it's just a case of whatever they're comfortable talking about,
I see.
we just carry it on. And I always feel like it's the pressure shouldn't be on the guest. The guest is taking time out of their day to speak to me. And I'm grateful for that time. So my job, I feel as a presenter, is to guide them through and make it as nice and as pleasant as an experience as possible. Like if I ask someone about their origin story and they get a bit kind of, so was that like the origins getting into the industry, blah blah, and I go, well, we'll start with the basics. Where were you born? What? And tell me that, and then we just work it from there, and I just let my natural nosiness fill it in.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter to me what about anybody's what if they don't feel comfortable about something, don't you just need to say it to me, don't feel comfortable talking about it, and I just say that's
Right.
fine, we'll move on, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
See, with me, I guess it was just not educated enough about the origin because I know my family was from Scotland, and then they would
Yeah.
say Dublin or they would say something else, and I just assumed it was Scotland because they were from Scotland, but I didn't know they lived in Ireland. They didn't say that they
Hmm.
lived there. They just
Yeah.
said they were from there, and oh, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
still
But
learning.
yeah, don't worry. What I found as well is that my presenting style is so different from a lot of people's presenting styles. Like,
Yeah.
because they're usually like, right, send us the list of questions and send us this and send us that. And I'm like, I keep this very casual, guys. Don't worry. Like, you're
Yeah.
okay. You don't need to be on tenterhooks. It's just a case of what don't say anything really stupid because I don't edit. Well, I don't want.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'm safe.
Nope, you've done brilliantly. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much.
And I hope we get to do more work together in the future. I'm pretty sure that we will, as long as you put up with me.
You were great. I don't think I put it up with you. I enjoyed the conversation, or I wouldn't still be talking.
Yeah, that's very true. Why? Because everybody says that, like, oh, was it? Did you not want to talk to me? And I'm like, if I didn't want to talk to you, I'd tell you to shut up.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durnan, and this has been the brilliant Kristina Paterson. What? Check her out in the socials. Just check her out in general because she's a very beautiful woman. But also very smart as well. Go to any events that she's going to if you're in any parts of Canada. Make the trek. She's worth it. She's L'Oreal of Canada. There we go. I always try and find the wee tagline or something. So the L'Oreal of Canada. You can have that one for free.
Thank you.
Until next time,
Okay.
take care. Stay
You
safe.
too, Andrew. You too.
Bye bye.
See you later. Bye bye.